There's more than one way to achieve a good looking wave animation, but here's what I find easiest yet also effective. You can use any animation program, but ideally one with layers. You can still follow along without layers, but you'll need to find your own way to do some steps. Start with a sand colored background. For the water, you'll want 3 colors, a light one for the foam, and 2 for the rest. On the first layer, above the background, use the light foam color and draw a slightly wavy line as the first frame. In each of the following frames, this line should continue to move outward across the sand and gradually become more wavy. Remember to use slow in, slow out, by creating a lot of frames close together at the beginning and end, looking like this. Then copy all of these frames, paste them in front, and play the duplicates in reverse to create a loop. Delete any frames that repeat twice in a row. Here's what the animation looks like. Now, start at the beginning again, and draw in another line with the same color below the first. This line starts close to the first line, but becomes more distant as the water goes out. And as the water goes back in, it becomes even more distant, but then quickly catches up at the end of the animation to restart the cycle. Keep in mind that this line doesn't need to be perfectly parallel to the first, and should start to do its own thing as the water goes out. Next, you can get your fill tool and fill in the space between these 2 lines. Now the foam is finished, so it's time for the rest of the water. Grab one of your other 2 remaining colors, and start to fill in this space with evenly spaced blobs. They should be varying in shape and size, and at the start of the animation, they should have just a tiny bit of space between them. They should move with the foam, and as they go out, become smaller and more distant from each other. When the water is fully out, the space between the blobs is now much bigger than the blobs themselves. Then, as the wave is pulled back in, the blobs start to grow back to their original size and stretch a bit as they go back down. At the end of the cycle, they should match up with the beginning of the animation. If that's looking good, the hardest part is now over, and you can start filling in the water with color. The blobs should be darker than the space between them. Finally, make one more layer underneath your previous one, and at the point where the water is out the furthest, use a color that's a bit darker than the sand, and draw a line just past where the water stops. Fill in the area underneath, stretch it to the length of the full animation, and now you have wet sand where the wave reaches on the beach. This is the final result, and you're welcome to put your own twist on it and experiment with extra details. Head on over to this playlist if you'd like more animation tutorials. Thanks for watching!